Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Is everything in? Yep, we're all good, ladies and gents. What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's live stream where we will be sat through the good old Ethereum Dencun upgrade, which is scheduled to be rolled out at 9:55 Eastern Standard Time. So that will be in the next 50 minutes. Now, having a little bit of a conversation with good old Mike Dutch, he has a point about this upgrade. They've just recently tested this upgrade they've done 3 rollout phases just to effectively test to see how it operates. And it seems like those rollouts have done pretty well. But the problem is are you rolling it out to the world of cryptocurrency? And are you naturally going to get a good response from it? Like always, when you update a website, what usually happens? There's a little bit of downtime. How can that be reflected in the charts with Ethereum? Well, today we're going to break that all down, and we're going to go on the assumption that if the upgrade does actually happen and it appears to be successful, then everyone's going to jump onto the bandwagon on the back of this upgrade, being that it's all going to be about lower fees. So that's the real reason why the Dencun upgrade is really important for Ethereum, because it just means fees are significantly lower. In other news, BTC goes and takes that nice flavoursome move to the upside and clears 73. Let me just make sure that we've got that correct, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we do. Yep, they go above the 73,500, tap the 73,667, and then they've pulled back ever so slightly to give back some of the gains. But overall, Bitcoin is up roughly around 2% for the day. Happy days. And we've got more information about the ETF. We've had some big inflows, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping, but it doesn't mean that the principle of the bid and the ask is going to be coming into play. Now, just read a question in the Discord from a gentleman asking the concept behind buying the dip, because that's what everyone is looking for. Well, buying the dip is all about what you categorize as buying the dip. If price bounces away from the 50 EMA on the 1 minute time frame, comes back down to the 50 EMA and bounces from that, I'm buying at the bounce of the 50 EMA. That would be buying the dip. How you categorize the dip is all going to be based on the time frame, the type of trader you are, or investor, holder, diamond hands, you name it. So I'm going to be talking about that today, and I do believe that's going to serve a lot of holders out there who might be feeling like, are they missing out on something? Okay? So I'm going to break that all down for you. But more importantly, I do want to thank Para for giving out all these memberships. Mad love and respect. Alon, what's going on? What's the Dencun upgrade? I'm going to be explaining that for you in this live stream right now today, guys. So if you are new to the channel, you know what the flavor is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the ding-a-ling so you don't miss out on tonight's live stream. We don't know what's going to happen in the markets today. Hopefully, we're going to see some more flavor to the upside. We're going to be looking at the stock market as well. We're going to dive into a little bit of Forex. Today is effectively a free day of trading, which means there's no news announcements that can really impact the marketplace, but we do have the Ethereum upgrade. So we're going to be talking about that very, very shortly. I'm excited for this upgrade, believe it or not. I like Ethereum. It moves really well. But other than that, guys, I hope you're all doing well. Let's get with the flavor, because today's going to be a little bit of a long one. Well, I always say it's going to be a short one. It never is a short one. And yeah, let's just get to the charts. You know what the flavor is. Tino, after a month of watching your free content and now a massive profit after extensive hours watching price, I just got my platinum membership. Well done to you, One Health. Mad love and respect for that. Hopefully you took advantage of the 20% discount. Make sure you take advantage of that, but we'll talk about that when we get into this live. So let's get with the program, guys. Here we go. So, dearly beloved Bitcoin, we are gathered here today to witness the madness of Bitcoin going and gunning for that 75K zone, or even the 100K. You see, now it makes more logical sense to be talking about Bitcoin 100K, because we're only 25K away from Bitcoin being 100K. Now, let's just put things into perspective. Look at this. Top in 73K, the new ETF, insatiable ETF, $849 million worth of inflows going in on Tuesday. That is wild. The great thing about the ETF, and most people are going to be challenging this on the idea that the ETF is bad news for cryptocurrency. Well, it's not, okay? We've just seen potentially, well, nearly $2 trillion go back into the crypto market cap itself out of nowhere, all on the back of this ETF. So thank Wall Street, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to show some love to centralized way of doing business, all right? And capitalism at its best. They want the next best thing. Bitcoin ETF is the next best thing. Does anybody remember the tulip era? Oh, my days. Could that be the case for Bitcoin? Okay. But with that being said, we're going to go and have a look at the impact of it. We know that BlackRock and Grayscale, look at their portfolios. They are just flying up. BlackRock's now at 203,000 on the ETF right there. And then Grayscale with 400,000. BlackRock is catching up, ladies and gents. It's catching up. And I said this from day. We ain't going to have Grayscale sat there with the larger amounts. But then granted, Grayscale's picked up across various other assets, as you can see over here. But BlackRock is just all about that BTC. Okay, so this is going to be very, very interesting how this is where it gets interesting. BlackRock will always be the one that has the most of everything, okay? And Bitcoin's on their list. I mean, come on, man. That just puts things into perspective right now. Let's just go down and have a look at what's been going on. What have we seen over the last few minutes? You can see on this chart right here, in 16 hours ago, Valkyrie had been picking up Bitcoin. Coinbase had been picking it up. We had a little bit of a sell from Valkyrie, but that's no qualms right there. And of course, we've got this other ARK investors been stepping into this ETF. So look, lots of volume is coming into the Bitcoin ETF. And now everyone's talking about it. I mean, look at this, creating 1,500 millionaire wallets daily. The same way the market gives is the same way the market takes. Always have that in your mind, okay? You're a millionaire today and you are a bummed out dude the next. That's usually the case with cryptocurrency. That's why people that trade the meme coins, they will see success buying $500 worth of a coin, owning 9 billion of it. It moves up a few percent. Happy days. You now pay off your house. Done. It's all happy days like that. So the guys who really do exploit the meme coins get this. And that's why you see them get in early. They pick up a coin and then they get out. All right, when you start watching wallets and you see how a specific wallet has been buying has been buying certain meme coins, you can see that they're effectively scalping it. Some of them anyway, some big wallet holders, they will buy a big batch of it and then they will sell it, buy it, sell it, buy it, sell it, and they will scalp it because they are buying in volumes. All right, and they only need it to move a small amount. So that's something that you want to be taking into consideration when you are buying into assets like meme coins, for example. Which is very important for meme coins because this Ethereum Dencun upgrade, which is due to be released in the next 45 minutes, is going to be rolled out. We could see some good volatility for Ethereum because it's promoting the idea of reduced fees. Now, it's ideally working on layer 2 networks that operate on top of Ethereum. And one of the players that's winning right now on the back of this, in my opinion, will be... Where is she? What's going on? Why is everything frozen? Oh, no. Please, don't do this to me. Please don't do this to me. Why is TradingView frozen? Oh, no. Why has TradingView frozen? Wait. Oh, come on. Sorry about this, ladies and gents. Something's going on. They don't want me to talk about the coin. They really don't. Here we go. Ah, please. Why? Why are you doing this? Has anyone got this problem? Here we go. Happy days. All right, we're back to business, guys. All right, then. So the coin that I'm talking about is Matic. Matic is winning. All right. Look at that. It's going for it. All right. Cheaper fees. Now, remember, Coinbase has stopped servicing or supporting Bitcoin payments. Okay. Or should I say, yeah, Bitcoin self-custody wallets. All right. And they're focusing more on layer 2 protocols. So Matic is one of those, all right? And you can see Matic is just winning right now. And I've said it, Ethereum and Matic, very good assets to trade, all right? You know where you stand. Matic and Bitcoin dominance likes to work in sync. If you marry up the Bitcoin dominance to Matic, you'll start to see this good correlation with it. Bitcoin dominance up, Matic down. Bitcoin dominance down, Matic up, okay? But right now, we've got Bitcoin dominance just trading sideways, which is in principle good news, which tells us now that altcoins should be making some flavor. BNB, when's this thing going to stop? Ain't stopping, all right? $600, look at that, man. That is, love it. BNB, heading close towards the climatic zone, ladies and gentlemen. It's a climatic point. Everyone's going to get pumped on BNB. All right, so that's really good news for the BNB holders right there. Quickly going back into Ethereum, which is the star of the show. Now, look, you can see Ethereum has been consolidating. It's been doing sweeps lower. It's been moving back up. And this is where we start diving into this conversation about buying the dip for the holders, okay? Let me present something to you all. Let's assume you are a holder right now, okay? And you want to know when is the best time to buy Bitcoin. Well, the first thing that you need to be doing is this. You need to be saying to yourself, what's my time frame that I'm going to be making my purchases on? Is it going to be on the daily? Is it going to be on the weekly? Is it going to be on the monthly, okay? Those are really your three main time frames. The one thing that we need to understand about buying the dip, as the gentleman goes on to ask, it's not... I'm going to read the question out just to put things into perspective. Gentleman goes on to say, I have a question about so-called buying the dip. Why does Tino say they are buying when prices are dropping? Is he trying to trick me into becoming the exit scam when everyone is dumping? Then I become the hodler buying the so-called dip and looking to sell who will buy from me at the ask. If Bitcoin was a bank going bankrupt, I will be the same as the market maker holding the worthless Bitcoins. I understand where he's going with that, but that's on the premise that Bitcoin were to collapse. And if Bitcoin were to collapse and then everything else was to go to the pan, you ain't going to be worrying about selling if no one is going to be buying. It would just collapse. And the speed that it would collapse at would wipe out the markets. That's the last thing. It will be you against millions of other people that are at a loss, even market makers, because they would stop. It would just be a crash, complete wipeout. You see, the problem with cryptocurrency is it's not like the Dow Jones or the NASDAQ and the S&P. If the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ starts to drop and they drop aggressively, 7% is the sweet spot for the Dow Jones to stop trading. So the systems are triggered to put in a failsafe in to stop the markets from trading. They can do that. But in cryptocurrency, the only thing that can happen is wallets can go down or exchanges will prevent you from buying or even selling. That's the limitation that you have right there. But price will still move because the blockchain will continuously be operating. Okay? So in other words, Bitcoin just can keep on going down, 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 down. Okay? Now, when it comes to buying the actual dip, the idea is that if you have a certain amount of liquidity that you're going to commit to buying the dip, well, it's all about how big of a dip you are preparing to buy. Because you've got to remember, players that are buying Bitcoin in the sums of 1,000 Bitcoin or 3,000 Bitcoin, if you're in a position to be buying with that much buying power, losing money is not really a concern for you because you've got the capital behind you to behave like a true DCA player. Look at it like this. The daily time frame, okay? This whole thing right here, this dropping to the downside and then coming all the way back up, okay? Bigger players like Grayscale, they've been buying all of this, okay? They buy it, but they can afford to buy these dips. Now, when we look at Bitcoin's price action right now, the only dips that we could see, they may be short-lived. Those dips are like this. Okay? Now, going into the logic that if he was buying the dip and then there's not going to be anyone to sell into, there will always be someone to sell into because the market maker will always have a supply. He will be providing supply for you to get involved in. Now, of course, Bitcoin, there's this thing about the supply itself. There's only 21 million coins. Now, that has been distributed across several exchanges, all right? We've also got Bitcoin that's caught up between wallets of whole big holders like whales and what have you. There's also Bitcoin that is lost that we're taking into consideration within that 21 million, okay? Fundamentally, when you're buying the dip, first thing you got to consider is the time frame you're considering buying the dip from. So a holder will look at Bitcoin and say, okay, then where's Bitcoin right now in terms of its gains over a quarterly basis? Well, the first quarter right now, we are up 72%. Happy days, okay? In the month of March itself, we're up 20%. Last 3 months have just seen a successive increase on Bitcoin's gains. So some of you might be thinking, well, you know what? I'm either going to just get involved in Bitcoin now and I don't care about it going lower. Some of you might be a little bit more conservative and say, well, you know what? I'm going to protect myself here. I want to make sure that I can at least take advantage of a little bit of a dip in Bitcoin. Well, what could that be? Well, if the dip's not going to be too much and Bitcoin's just going to continue to go higher, the logical thing for a holder to do is to effectively take advantage of momentum plays, okay? That means if you are blessed with a move like this of consolidation, right? This is where you load up on Bitcoin. And this is where the 20-20-20-40 comes into play. How you distribute the 420 method, which says that you take 20%, 20%, 20%, and 40%. This is your capital. So if you got 10 grand, you got a 20% amount there, which is 2K, 20% there, 20% there. There's 60% of your capital that is working capital. The 40% right here is designed for you to take advantage of really volatile opportunities in the marketplace where you are going to commit 40% of the balance for a short period of time so that you can increase the value of this 40% of your capital so that the next time that actually happens, you can take advantage of it. What do I mean by that? Something like this when you see a V-shaped play, a sharp drop down in the day, and then it instantly comes back up. You are in for the day and you're out by the end of the day. That's where this 40% comes into play. Now, sometimes you can hold on to the 40% batch, but I'll give you a couple more examples just to put it into perspective on the idea that momentum is here with Bitcoin and we're not going to get that much of a dip, all right? So a holder will go on to the 4-hour time frame and he'll look at how Bitcoin has been behaving inside of these recent ranges. Now, let's put 2 and 2 together and understand where we are. We know that there's lots of volume going into Bitcoin with yesterday $849 million of inflows into the ETF. Now, remember the ETF itself, they have to go and buy the Bitcoin via a transfer agent who then takes that and puts it into the ETF trust, okay? And where we see that right here. That's where the Bitcoin is at, all right? BlackRock's got $14 billion worth of Bitcoin and Grayscale's got $41 billion worth of Bitcoin. Happy days. And everyone's banging on about MicroStrategy with its 200,000 Bitcoin. And, you know, Grayscale sat with the stack, all right? No one's talking about Grayscale that much, but anyway, that's another story. So let's go back into Bitcoin's price. Now, from a technical point of view, those of you that will be using moving averages, which the moving averages do serve a purpose, but they are somewhat laggard. But the higher the time frame, the more weight they have because they're factoring in bigger opportunities that have happened in the marketplace, in the sense where you look at the 5 EMA, that tells you what the last average of the last 5 candles were. Well, each candle is a day on the daily, so you got more information. On the 4-hour time frame, it considers pretty much the last 20 hours, okay, of price action. So if we're going off the 5 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that for the last the last 20 hours, Bitcoin has been marking up. Okay, per se, right? Well, let's go from this one, yeah? So the last 20 hours, Bitcoin has been moving up. So a holder's going to look at this and say, right, we've been moving up, but we've just come away from a very sharp retrace. I've missed the opportunity to load up and do some DCA inside of here, okay? So where's my dip? Well, my dip in principle is within this range, okay? This is my dip range. How much of my capital am I going to commit into this dip? What do I need to take into consideration about the dip? Okay. You got the 5 EMA, which is this yellow line here. And then you've got the red line right here, which is the 13 EMA. Okay. Now, those of you that are just passing through right now, some of the guys that are into the order flow and, you know, looking at bids and asks, you might be thinking, this guy's talking about moving averages. What the hell? It's a laggard indicator. This is true. But when you're dealing with higher time frames, all right, from a holder's perspective, he wants to understand how likely is a dip going to work in favor for him, okay? If price breaks in towards the 5 and 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, this will be an opportunity for the holder to commit a certain amount of capital to take advantage of it going down at a cheaper price, okay? If it goes down, and stays inside of this range, the next logical thing is to see price coming back up. So that 20% that you commit inside of here, price starts to work its way up and clear the highs, that 20% has done its business. Happy days. Now, if Bitcoin is going to continue to move up and up, you'll be merely looking at the 4-hour 5 and 13 EMA to effectively grab volatility in Bitcoin. Now, as a holder, you want to be using the 4-hour time frame and giving the trade a chance of around, give it a 24-hour window, okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is when price comes back down and you're buying the dip, it's on the idea that the guys who are bidding Bitcoin, as you can see here, which they have been doing, look at these big dip purchases. These guys have built their positions on Bitcoin and Bitcoin has moved away from it. They may have sold up here. They've done the same thing right here. And we're now anticipating some more selling to come into play. So where there is concentrations of Bitcoin going down, that's when you want to be buying. If the buying starts to slow down and Bitcoin finds support at the 5 or the 13 EMA, you wait for the next candle to confirm that. You either hold on to your 20% and it works in your favor and moves to the upside. This is where you are considering potentially taking profits. Now, let's hypothetically assume Bitcoin has moved down. You've committed 20% of your balance inside of here. Let's hypothetically assume that you do not sell it. So you have now gone 20% on this retrace. It moves away and clears the high. Now we've got a new range at 75,000, 74,000. It's at this price point right here that the 5 and 13 EMA will have this sort of structure. Right? It will have this sort of behavior. The more price stays above the 5 and 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, the more conviction we are getting about the momentum is sustaining itself, okay? So that's going to give us weight to holding. And we are then looking for an opportunity for price to break into the 5 or the 13 EMA. As long as they stay within the 5 and 13 EMA, I'm telling you now, this is for the holders, and we've been talking about this for quite some time. Remember, I said last night, go to the live streams on the 15th of November, 2023. You will be seeing this unfolding in real time as each day passes, okay? And I'm doing exactly the same thing now. When you see the 5 and 13 EMA on the 4-hour time frame show expansion, you've got the right move, okay? You've seen it's contracted in this area. Now it's moving away from it. The logic says that we should anticipate Bitcoin to continue higher. What do we need to wait for? The next candle, which opens in the next 2.5 hours, will effectively determine if the bounce from this 5 EMA right here is going to be sustained. And Bitcoin can even go down in towards the 13 EMA and it's still good. It's if it breaks the 13 EMA on the 4-hour where you then need to pay attention, because if it does break below the 13 EMA and close, the next candle will dictate as to whether or not it's going to continue to go down and recover this wick. Ladies and gentlemen, if Bitcoin were to completely drop all the way back down and they did it at speed, that would not be a problem, because historically we can see that this is where the bids are being engaged, and the market will always want to go to an area where it can transact and test the true intention of the guys who are buying the dip at this point, okay? What you're looking for in principle is you're looking for a high concentration of bids to appear at a specific point in Bitcoin to then go on to make the assumption that the bids who are there are happy to buy Bitcoin at this price, and that at some instance they're going to want to protect that and maybe even want to sell. That's the thing. When price rises back up, we don't know if these guys who've been bidding Bitcoin in this area here are actively selling it as it's moving up. Which is why when you see Bitcoin make these moves, look, they did the move here. They bidded Bitcoin. They went out and sold it. From that point, it dropped aggressively. Then they started the same story again over here with the bids. They bidded out. They sold into those guys. And then they kept selling a little bit more. The market started to stabilize. Then yesterday, they swept down even lower. And they picked up more Bitcoin to only do exactly the same thing again. These instances of big drops are your bidders coming in to buy up Bitcoin with the intention of selling it again from the previous high that they actually started to buy from. That's exactly what buying the dip is all about. Buying the dip is on the premise that when you see price going down, you are riding with the logic that you are participating in the bidders. The next logical thing is to work out how much of your capital you're going to keep on committing. So you will only know when Bitcoin drops down, you take the first bout of investment and you load up. There's 20% hypothetically in this area right here, okay? There's 20% right there. You go about your day, go on, continue, do what you need to do. You come back to the chart. Bitcoin has now come back down towards the 71 zone, okay? You're still good. It's just a deeper correction. That means now I've got another 20% that I can work with, the working capital on the 420 method, okay? So I then say to myself, right, I'm loading up another bit of Bitcoin on here. Because if Bitcoin is going to be continuing higher and BlackRock has got loads of inflows and all these guys are going in on the ETF, I'm assuming that they're buying at the same time because they're not going to be buying as prices rising now. They're going to be selling as prices rising. Miners do it. So why would anyone else not do that? Okay. So there's your second 20%. Let's say Bitcoin then goes down even more and recovers the wick. All right. There's your third 20%. So now you've got your dip, okay? You've got your dip. You've bought the dip on Bitcoin, okay? News is looking like everything's all good for Bitcoin. It's progressive. It's looking great. They keep on buying the ETF because with the ETF, they are buying the Bitcoin to be putting into the ETF trust. This is the great thing about the Bitcoin ETF. They have to buy Bitcoin to service it, okay? Now, say you're at this 20% point right now and Bitcoin is just stabilizing. Nothing much is happening. Guess what happens? Bitcoin does a sweep lower and attacks the lows. Oh my days. What do I do now? Granted, your 2020 here is in a drawdown. That's the truth. You're losing value. However, you've still got 40%. Where is it? You've got 40% of the balance of your capital that is sat behind waiting for a nice, sharp dip. You see that dip in Bitcoin. That's going to create a shock. Oh my days. Bitcoin's at all-time highs. BlackRock are buying it. Everyone's going crazy on Bitcoin right now. Here is an opportunity for me to take advantage of a cheaper Bitcoin. You load up your 40% in this range. Now, what you're then waiting for is you're waiting for Bitcoin to sharply make a recovery back up. The recovery back up, even if it does make its way back up towards your final 20% move, which is here. These are your 20%, right? Even if Bitcoin were to come back up towards the first area that you loaded up from, the money you're making from the return on this one right here, it means you're putting down more size, okay? And you're seeing a return sooner because that's how Bitcoin operates. They've been doing it non-stop. Look, they gave us a nice one here. So if we were going to look at this same logic that I'm talking about is right here. Here's your 20%. 20% there, 20% there, goes down a bit more, 20% there. Then you see in the same candle, it flushes lower. Oh my days, 40%, smack that. It goes all the way back up, close off your 40%. You've just now added more weight to that 40%. Still got the 20s active. You're letting them play because it's only a small amount of capital, okay? It continues. Oh wow, look, Bitcoin dropped down at that point. Could take advantage of a 40% there, maybe. Bitcoin drops down again, happy day. So right now, your 2020 is still sitting good. Awesome. You could then say to yourself, right, I'm going to close off one of the 20 percentiles, okay? Leave the other two running and wait for the next move. Bitcoin drops down again. Oh my God, look, it's dropped down towards that point. Now I've got what? I've got 40% exposure in the chart, but now I've got 60% of my capital waiting to be utilized. Load up 60% from this point. Ride it all the way back up again on the premise that Bitcoin is going to keep on moving higher. And the only way that you can work that out, ladies and gentlemen, is by understanding how likely the bids are going to come in and protect their positions. You think these guys right here buying up $12 million worth of Bitcoin or however much it is. We had a big order. Where was it? It was over here. $38 million worth of Bitcoin. Funnily enough, that's the same area. Look, Bitcoin reverses at $38 million worth of Bitcoin purchased at 61,500. And Bitcoin reverses aggressively from that point. They're going to do everything in their power to make sure that they can protect that position, especially when you see such a big order coming in. That is a cash infusion, all right? The market makers and the exchanges are like, yo, we just filled out really nicely. they're probably going to want to realize a return later. Let's start marking price. Let's start offering out to encourage this person at 38 to potentially want to sell. Okay. Now, we don't know if this person that's selling at buying at 38, all right, will sell as it goes higher. We don't know, but we can only take that assumption and say, okay, they're going to be looking for a profit. Funnily enough, at 70,000, we near enough have the same amount of liquidity. So he went in at 61 and he's now effectively sold at 33. We can only make that assumption. Why is that figure the same, near enough, or thereabouts? So you can only make that assumption, especially when you're working in the realm of uncertainty. You just don't know, okay? And that's very important to understand when you are looking to buy the dip. You've got to factor in how likely are they going to be engaged in loading up and protecting their bids, okay? So in response to the gentleman's question, I'm not trying to scam anyone and get them to sell and because I'm going to move the market and I've got a market maker friend who's going to screw everyone over. I'm trying to get you to understand how the business operates, okay? The differences between the retail trader and BlackRock in principle has infinite capital, all right? What I mean is risk is not really a problem. They're not eliminated from risk, but they have more capital to allow them to sit through prolonged periods of drawdown because that's when they're buying. Even if we go back into the logic of the sentiment chart, which shows you smart money is going down, which is the blue line, and dumb money is going up, which is the red line. Look at the markets. Smart money is selling as price is going down, as the markets are going up, and dumb money is buying as the price is going up. Now, you're saying to me, hold on a second, Tino. So you're saying to me that I'm a dumb trader because I'm buying Bitcoin at these highs. Well, no, not necessarily, because you want to be waiting for Bitcoin to drop. And if you are a holder and you're looking to buy Bitcoin on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, these retraces after this move to the upside is where you're going to be stacking and taking plays, okay? You've got to say to yourself with your capital, can I allow Bitcoin and how much would it hurt me if I witness Bitcoin and I put all my capital, okay? If I put all my capital in this zone and I assume that Bitcoin is not going to break the 5 and 13 EMA and it's going to stay inside of this range, how much of a drawdown can I absorb? Well, a holder realistically is going to put down and buy the Bitcoin at 72. And if Bitcoin does go down to 68, then his Bitcoin is not as valuable as it was when he purchased. So he's got a bit of a drawdown of around 5, 6K, okay? So he needs to you've got to really work out your tolerance to risk. How much are you prepared to pay at a discount for? If Bitcoin is rising because everything's going up, they're actively selling the Bitcoin. They're selling the Bitcoin because the offers are coming into play. Bitcoin will come back down again to trigger the bids so the bids can start buying it up on the cheap and then offer it out again, okay? That, in my opinion, is the best way for you to approach buying the dip on Bitcoin. And you can tell that we're trading at all-time highs, and it's easier to trade at all-time highs because when you see these flushes to the downside that happen at speed, okay? Yes, granted, bull markets, they last over a period of time, but the bear market can be triggered in a moment and it can literally wipe everything out. We know this is Bitcoin's volatility. And the best way for you to understand that is you look at the key moving averages, you look at the way the price moves, and always say to yourself, the candlestick that breaks down Bitcoin from the high, if the next candlestick continues and closes lower than what the previous candle was, there's a good chance that it's going to continue to go down. If you applied that same logic on the 4-hour time frame with this red vector candle, everyone was losing their mind when Bitcoin was going down. That's it. The bears are in. Happy days, happy days, happy days. Start shorting Bitcoin. Well, me as the hybrid system trader, I'm going to be looking at that red vector candle, and everybody in the Pattern Watchers Discord will know that when the red vector candle closes, that's the information we're waiting for. We're looking for the vector candle recovery, which is the midpoint of this vector candle. The next candle will confirm that, and that's exactly what had happened. The next candle confirmed that this was a stop run, because if they close price so aggressively in towards the 50 the midpoint of the vector candle right here, the logic would say that they're going to continue out with it. You want more confirmation, wait for the next candle to close. So logic says that there was 8 hours of you having to wait for Bitcoin, and if you did wait those 8 hours, you would have been served very well, because look at what it did after that. This is at all-time highs. These moves right here is where they are protecting their bids. They're protecting their bids and loading up even more, all right? Protecting the bids, loading up even more. People call this rejections. They don't want lower prices. This is a problem at best of times. Why? Because if they're gunning lower to sweep the liquidity, that means they're only going to do it for a certain period of time before the next time they do it, and then they mean to do it and go lower, because then it will have enough people trapped in the logic that you buy the dip as it's going higher and higher, and you're getting the clues that they're loading up. These are load ups. These are not rejections. They are hitting bids, loading up, going back up. Okay? Buying, 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 buying. We've just had this whole wave of buying. Has Bitcoin really moved? No, it hasn't. Look at the range it's covered from all of these movements. Look at this. From the high, where is it? Let me just move this. In all of this accumulation inside of these wicks, okay? Bitcoin from this point at the 68,400 has only moved up 7%, okay? And it's still struggling inside of this zone, hasn't really cleared it. We've got this wick right here, which was another attempt by the bids to buy up. Now we're waiting for an initial reaction for Bitcoin to continue. As long as it stays above the 5 and 13 EMA, you are good to the upside until you are given a reason to close. Look, what did we say yesterday? Last night, what did we say about the 5 and 13 EMA? This candlestick is confirmed above the 5 EMA. This will be the confirmation candle. So if Bitcoin tonight closes strongly into today's candle, the next candle will pretty much determine Bitcoin to move higher. Because they've done the test here. They went down, swept the liquidity, come all the way back up. So holders now looking at their charts thinking, yeah, man, should I take some profits? You have no reason to take profit other than profit itself. Okay? Until you are given a reason to get out of a trade, you do nothing. You can't create this madness in your mind like, but what if, what if, what if, what if? The criteria is if it goes below the 5 EMA on the daily time frame for the holders, you have no reason to close off your position. You could load up your position. You could do DCA when it goes down below the 5 EMA, because then you'll be using the 13 EMA. This range right here, remember, this changes on a day-to-day candle, all right? But you can see it's progressively moving up, right? So this is your window to buy the dip. If it doesn't buy the dip, then you're buying the dip above the 5 EMA. That's the daily time frame. That's how you do it, okay? I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? Oh my days. You explain a video. Just watch yesterday's live. Chill out anyways. Can you explain again? What do you want me to explain? Please, can you tell us how to buy with a ledger where you can't buy and sell at the same time? Okay. Let's have a look at any of these chats. Oh, okay, we've got some super chats here. What time is it? 15 minutes until the supposed upgrade. Okay. Eth retrace is going on now. Take a look at for the pattern watchers, would you? Okay. Let's go have a look at Ethereum. Okay, so the upgrade's happening supposedly in the next 15 minutes, all right? This is consistent with what we want to see. Now, Ethereum will always move so much more better than Bitcoin, in my opinion, all right? And let's just wait for it. Here we go. So red vector candles. Let's put this logic together now, right? The bids are coming into play on Ethereum. Look at this. Where are we at? Where's my... Oh, NASDAQ. Oh, NASDAQ. NASDAQ, NASDAQ, NASDAQ. She's about to do some very interesting flavor today, guys. Free day in the market. Here we go. This is where we are with Ethereum. Coming into some very important zones. Okay. The asks have been effectively hit. The bids are being hit right now. They are actively bidding Ethereum out. We've had some liquidations right here on the longs, but the bids are starting to accumulate. We've got 612 Ethereum. Does anybody remember that on Ethereum? 612 pattern watchers. Remember that? the 612 seems to be that 600 is a very interesting order. Lots of bids are coming in here. These greens are bids, okay? So they could be buying up Ethereum. Here we go. Look, she's getting busy. Very busy. 823 on the bid side right there for Ethereum. This is what the makeup is of a vector candle. Now, going into Ethereum, she's breaking down towards the psychological high, all right? Ethereum is still good, and what you want to be doing is you want to be considering these blocks. This is where the bids are coming to play, where price has been marked down lower. Retail trader is going short on Ethereum right now, so this is effectively like a trap. The idea is that in the next 13 minutes that we would want to see them recover the vector candle. But we've got an upgrade that is due to be released in the next 8-9 minutes. Okay, so it's actually 5 to 10. So we are going to see some volatility on Ethereum right now. We're looking at the NASDAQ and the S&P. S&P's dropped down lower. That's fine. We want to see it drop. Okay. And they could be on for that wick. They could be on for it, but we're going to assume they're going to try and hold support out here, because if the idea of cheaper fees is going to be happening right now on Ethereum, then these candlesticks are in nature designed to create the illusion it's going down with the potential for them to come back up. But we have to wait for the candle to finish. There's got 12 minutes for that candle to come into play. Let's go and have a look at what else is going. Matic pulling back as standard after that big little run up. Solana, playing out very nicely, but still holding in that range. Take some profits, gang. And BNB's pulling back ever so slightly. And that's obviously because the market is open. And we're just seeing a little bit of a pullback. Let's just go over into the bonds for a second. 2-year yield is still climbing up. NASDAQ, got a gap there on the NASDAQ futures. So they're probably looking to fill that gap. S&P, where we at? S&P, same. Wait. S&P right there. Okay, cool. Not really a gap, but we have got vector candle imbalances right here. I'm expecting them to try and... Yeah, we're looking for all-time highs again, I think. We could be getting that on the S&P today, maybe, but it all depends on how they behave in this area right here. Oil is up. Marcus, I hope you're ripping that apart, bro. I really do hope you are playing that. Where is it? Let me see. Where is oil? There she is. I hope you're playing that one, man, because that has done very nicely. Oil up, NASDAQ down, S&P down. That's usually what happens there. Happy days. All right, then, let's just go back into Bitcoin for a second. It is starting to pull back right now. We need to go and monitor the bids. Bids could be coming into play on Bitcoin. We've got a bid coming into play right now of 15 million at 72,300, which is going to be activated very shortly. Look, the market is going for that bid right there. It's 15 million. That could trigger actually quite a bit of interest on Bitcoin. Let me just pull back. Ethereum's going into those VWAPs right there. Go have a look at Bitcoin for a second. Go to the order flow. Is it going into the VWAP? Here we are. Here we go. So we got the bids. Bids are coming in at plus 13%. We've got quite a few bids coming into play. Bitcoin's VWAP is all the way at 72,720 up there. So we've got to be mindful of that. Here we go. Bids coming in. Look at that nice sharp reversal right there. Minus 30% on the offer side, so there's a little bit of a retrace. Some profit taking could be coming into play on short side, which is buy covering, which is naturally moving price up. We've got Bitcoin heading in towards some very significant VWAPs right now. It's broken the session VWAP, so we're going to end up seeing a new session VWAP coming into play very shortly. Quickly go back into the S&P. S&P's right there, that's fine. Go into Solana. Solana's breaking down the VWAPs. Still there. Just go back. Hit the NASDAQ. NASDAQ still doing its things. Trending like new VWAP session right there. Fine. Okay. We got 8 more minutes until... No, sorry. 4 more minutes until the Dencun upgrade is effectively released. Have they swept that liquidity? They should, in principle, have eaten that liquidity. So we need to update. Look at this. There's a problem with the CoinAnk. There's 15.39 million there at 72,300. Logic says that they've actually hit that price point because price went down to 72,237. If I refresh the chart, are we going to see that? Oh, Tino, come on. There we go. Come on. There he is. That bid's been taken. That bid has been taken. We've got now a new bid at 10 million at 72,000. So they've swept that bid. It should be coming up very shortly. You just change the time frame. Go to the hourly. That should give us more information. Here we go. Did it take it? Look, they only transacted 2 million of that bid. So now they're actively transacting at that bid area. Okay. So now this is NASDAQ. She's still going down. No qualms with that. I'm looking forward to that. Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the bids now. So that's that price point right now. Here we go. So what we're looking for now is see them start to offer out in here now. So that's very interesting. We need to wait and see because we know that there's 10 million at 72K. All right. So now they're back up above that 300, still playing around in that range. The upgrade should be happening in the next 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be very interesting. You're going to do it. Here we go. Not that much volume. Some offering coming into play. Yeah, they're probably not done with this just yet. They're probably not done with it. There we go. It's going into that liquidity right now. So that 50 million was only transacted 2 million right there. See if it's going to be updating it again. Oh, they should have transacted at that point. Come on. 2 million. It must be updated. We got some more liquidity down at 72, 10 million. They could actually be going for it, guys. There she is. No vector candle just yet. It's a controlled move. It's a nice controlled move. This could be for the upgrade. The upgrade should be in principle in the next 2 minutes. Video historic cycles, yeah? Yeah. Euro. What's Euro saying? Yep. Oh, Euro projection came in. That was nice. Let's have a look at that. Where did Euro end up? Oh, there she is. Yep, nice. Hit the 109.389 vector candle recovery point. Happy days. This is for the platinum members of the website, ladies and gentlemen, which there is a 20% discount for those guys. For anybody new, you get 20% off your first month on the platinum membership, and you don't just get the trade setups, you get all the masterclass sessions, and you get a private Discord where you can share all your trading ideas. And we've got a Dino bot in there that is mad for the memes. You know, it's always there policing the memes in that channel. So you've got to be careful of the Dino bot right there. But it does do a good job because it keeps it nice and clean in that Discord chat. I know it's frustrating, guys, but there's a purpose for it because people are in there trying to learn from each other. All right. So, yep, use the code BULLRUN. It's pinned to the top of the chat and it's in the description of this live stream down below. Now let's go back into Bitcoin. Here we go. So we know the daily opens there. It is a bit of a sharp dip, but we're going to wait and see. Here we go. All right. Less than a minute and 10 seconds for this Ethereum upgrade. This will be very interesting to see this live happening. All right. This will be very interesting. Now, listen, might not do anything. They might not do anything. It just might continue about its day. There's Bitcoin on the book map right there. Keep an eye out on Bitcoin over there. We want to see Bitcoin going into the VWAP, which is the 72,640. That's ideally what we want to see. Here is now the logic of the psychological high coming into play. Okay, this is very important. They've tested the psychological high on Ethereum, and we're now waiting to see if Ethereum is going to do a reversal because people are pumped about cheaper fees. So that would then logically mean everyone's going to start going on buying meme coins, using the Ethereum blockchain and what have you because of the reduced fees. Let's hope it's a smooth transition. So we're going to wait and see if that's going to be the case. Tina, I'd love to see a video on the historic market cycles. You know what? I'd like to do that, to be fair. And I think that's something that I do want to be doing. All right. I think I'm going to do that. All right. Here we go. 15 seconds. How do we know if it went according to plan? Do we just watch the charts? MoFish. Yes, this is the question that we're waiting for right now. Here we go. So logic is the upgrade is on. Logically, it says 9:55 Eastern Standard. This is when the upgrade should be on. It should be on right now. Oops. Look at Bitcoin. Let me just move my head. There's Ethereum. This is Bitcoin over here. Okay. Starting to see some behavior now. Bitcoin, here we go. Ethereum's still going. Violet vector candle at the psychological high. Might not be done just yet. But new 1 hour candle. 720 on Bitcoin. Is it going to happen? Psychological high. You're witnessing now the purpose of the psychological high as an assumption that it could be a point they reverse from. Could be a point it reverses from. Could. This is what trading's about. There's no definites. It could reverse from this point. Could run up and then drop. But this is how you pick your spots, by adding confluences together, okay? The upgrades principally should be live. Should be live. Looks like everything's running smoothly. No problems. DeFi is going crazy. We know that. Might not be done. Still holding that 72. So they must have gone and swept up that 72,000 with the 10 million orders. Here we go. They've gone down towards that. Have they? Yep, they've swept it. But how much of it has been transacted? That's the problem with the coin, man. That's the problem with it. It doesn't give you that transaction. It's you got to wait for it. Here we go. 2 million on that 15 million right there. Looks like it got pulled. Looks like it got pulled. It's no longer there. Let's have a look. Large limit orders. 12 million at 71,900. That's getting transacted very shortly. Here we go. 12 million inside at 91,500. 71,900. That's being triggered right now. Here we go. Bitcoin's dropping sharply, so that means Ethereum's doing the same thing. New 1 hour candle coming into play. Is there a 1 hour vector candle on here? Yes, there is. Come on. Let's see it. Here is the logic of buying the dip. These are your opportunities. There's a red vector. 2 minutes. Now, this is important. You're now looking to see if the reversal is going to happen at the close of the 1 hour candle, okay? This upgrade seems to be rolled out from what I see. And now we're looking to see. This is important when you're applying the logic of taking the 50% of the vector candle. You do not trade it until the candlestick is finished, all right? Because we want to know if this candlestick right here is a bidding candlestick. That means they've moved back down to the same area they bidded from. Are they going to protect the bids? Okay, let's see. Here we go. 1 minute and 50 seconds. I can't draw it just yet unless they continue to go up. Here we go. Now we'll start drawing it because it's looking like it wants to mark up. Take the top side of the candlestick, of the wick, go down to the low, and assuming that it holds this point and that they don't go to the wick again, you've got the midpoint right here. What's the logic? The logic is we wait for the midpoint of that candle to go up. That means if the next candlestick opens and goes up towards this point, we then wait for the next candle afterwards for a bit more confirmation to understand that we're going to see price continuing back up again, okay? If it stays within this range and cannot surpass the midpoint, then there's a good chance that the next candle could actually lead price lower. The faster they recover back up to this midpoint, the more likely we're going to assume that it's a stop-start reversal, which means it's come back down, loaded up on the bids to reverse back up. Have they not been doing this continuously on Bitcoin and Ethereum? You're effectively looking for this behavior all the time when you're at all-time highs. Okay, here we go. Look, we're going up towards the midpoint of the vector candle before we even finish the candlestick. Here she goes. So it looks like the reversal's coming into play. There's that candlestick. Criteria does say that we want to see green and blue vector candles. Is it a green vector? Yes, she is. Green vector, violet vector at the lows. They swept below the psychological low, triggered the short sellers to come into play. Really need to see this candle close above this point. But what can happen at this point is the next candle could recover the green vector. So it's very important we focus on that. Where's the book map? Bitcoin itching towards that 72,700. Could be in sight, ladies and gentlemen. Ignition algo up there. Happy days. Here she goes. There's a nice big bid down there. 415 Bitcoin at 71,500. That could get pulled. Here's this order now. Green vector candle. New 1 hour candle coming into play. Here is the proof of the move. All right. So we know where the midpoint is. Look at the midpoint on Ethereum, which is at 3,977. The logic says that after that big push up, give it a chance to recover some of this vector. We'll know it's the proof of the move if they can actually sustain this vector candle. That would be the midpoint. Otherwise, it will break down and recover the rest of the candle. So another midpoint on the vector. Here we go. 3,962. It's moving fast. It's recovering that. Let's hope that this was the stop to move back up again. Bitcoin going to... No, it's not doing it just yet. We've got to make it. And what I'm doing here, guys, is effectively giving you insight into how to navigate the potential for price to go from one point to the next. Okay? Look at that, man. Look how they do that. Surgical. Just look at that. Yeah, I'm on the 5-minute time frame. Okay? But look. Now we're above the midpoint of the vector. There's Bitcoin going into that nice VWAP 720 happy day. 72,700. There's that logic right there, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it continues to go back up. Looks like the algo seems to be working out. So hopefully you're getting, are we getting this, ladies and gentlemen, how you can navigate the understanding of how price can move from one point to the next based on looking at specific areas, having an understanding of the vector candles, how to anticipate, how to, when you've been watching it, how you can project the idea of it going from one point to the next. Are we on the same page, ladies and gentlemen, here? We've put the logic together about the bids. The bids came in and protected their positions. Do we understand that? Futures. Today I'm going to be I've had a good month so far. The start of month of March has been great. So technically I don't need to be trading, but I want to be trading some options today on the S&P because they'd show me some good imbalances that they will look to try and come back into later on. All right. But you know, I'm only going to be trading the S&P today because of the way the S&P moves. Bitcoin's too slow for me. It does move really slow. That's why I prefer to trade Ethereum. I'm waiting for them to give me volume on the Ethereum futures markets. Once Ethereum starts to pump up and they start really trading Bitcoin and Ethereum in the futures markets, that's when I'll have a field day, because the problem we got now is there's not that much volume. When you're trading tick charts, there's not that much volume. Look, something's happening here. Something is brewing here. Did you see just what happened there with Ethereum? There must have been a big bid right there. Hold on. Look at that VWAP. Plat members, you know exactly what that is. Look at those. Look at that, man. That's been acting as a key zone from day one. The history of the bids there and there. Critical. Here she goes. I'm looking for concentration. Look, offers starting to come into play there. See that? Offers. Happy days. Offering out. What do I need to see now? More offers. Offers there. Imbalances. Back to the VWAP up there. Let's take an anchored point. Anchor the VWAP from the lows. Here she goes. Take it from there. Go across. Change that. Go there. TR reverse. Happy days. Okay, so we're good. We'd want to see them go back up to that daily VWAP. That's where the purple line is, the sessions VWAP up there. Logically, that's what we would expect them to do. What we need to see them doing, offers holding out, points of control are aligned right there. Big offering there. So that could mean they could trigger some more offers to bounce away, which they did logically. So Ethereum should continue to move up from this point unless bids seem to try and load up. See the bids here, bid, buying up at this point. We've got imbalances down there, so we've got to be careful. It could come down. Really need to see the offers coming into play. There you go, 156 again on the offers, 390. There's a cluster of offers over there. Logic says we should see Ethereum going up from this point. Because I'm only assuming that those guys are going to want to sell their Ethereum again to start marking prices up, which in logic could be a point where they actually bid out Ethereum, which logic says that it could be the principle of the rise, the retrace, the continuation to the upside. This is understanding the relationship of the bid and the ask. This is what we're looking for. So we're waiting for that narrative to come into play. Where's Bitcoin? Has she done it? There we go. Close to that 7,200, 72,700. Want to see that VWAP. Ethereum's doing the same thing over here. Really need to see. I've got some bids coming in. They really need to hold that point. Nice. See that rejection there? When you see these rejections, when it's trading lower and then instantly comes back up, that's an influx of orders. That's liquidity. That means the bids were hit right there and then just instantly marked it back up again. So there's protection. The market's memory is being triggered, okay? If it spends more time coming back into that, then it means that they're trying to hit those bids to load up a bit more. They could even bring it down lower. But when you see these little wicks up and down, it's giving you that there is a battle right now between the bids and the asks. And they're battling out who's going to win right now. Are we going to win on the bid side where I can load up some more Ethereum in this area so that I can sell it higher? Or are there too many guys that are looking to offer out here, which is not really what the market wants, and it has to go down to the bids to encourage the bids to bring it down to only come back up towards that same point and then sell into those guys, which will naturally lead prices to continue to go higher. That's why we say just make sure you're looking at price when you see historically any offers in the past. There's an offer right there. We see offers up here. Logic says that we want to see more offers coming into play inside of this zone, okay? To suggest that these guys are actively wanting to sell again. They could be buying up and the bids start getting hit. Price goes down. And then we're then looking for them to then try and make the reversal back up again. So right now, look, there's no bids. Look, This is very weak. No bids. This is the market searching for liquidity right now. Look at it. It's going down, going back into that anchored VWAP. Funny if it reverses from there. Now we've got some offers and bids coming into play. Not really that many bids in this candlestick right now. I need to see huge bid imbalances. So here we go. What's it doing? Seems like it's come back into the same spot where they were offering out again. Happens to be the same spot that they were able to offer out again. And now it's reversing from that point. So this will help you understand whether you should be in a trade or not, or if you're already in an existing trade, how likely should you be holding onto the trade if it's going down against you? Should you hold on to it? And this is what's going to make the difference on you actually closing a trade at a profit or waiting for them to do these manipulative moves lower to load upon the bids. Here's buying the dip to effectively mark it up to see it go above this point and continue to the upside. Bitcoin, where you at? Sorry if I'm going a little bit too fast, guys. There she goes. Bitcoin, come on, clear that range. And Ethereum offers are coming into play. That's good news for us. Up it goes. 72,700 VWAP coming into action. Seems like the upgrade's doing pretty well. Are we all on the same page? Yeah? Any questions? Any questions? Remember, guys, this is this way of trading, okay? I'm a scalper. This is how I have to look at the markets. This is what suits me, my personality, okay? I'm the type of guy that could be on a live stream and just walk off. I've just, oh, shit, oh, something there. I'll just go. Obviously, I wouldn't do that, but I've got that personality to do that. You know, I'm very sporadic like that. And that's what suits my nature as a trader. I have to be fast in, fast out. That's what I'm about. Some other people that might be a little bit more conservative. You don't have to do the trading the same way I do it. I'm just breaking down to you the same dialogue that someone on the 5-minute time frame would have and the 1-hour time frame and the 4-hour time frame. Take any time frame. This is exactly the same dialogue that they would have. It just means on the higher time frames, it's going to take a little while for you to see it coming into play. Okay? Go into the logic of the hybrid system. Let's go back into that. Look at Ethereum. There's the midpoints. There's your midpoint there. Blue vector candle, green and blue vector candles appearing at the lows of the chart after the aggressive move to the downside. Red vector candle giving you the clue. Could be getting ready to mark up. Vector candle recovery, blah, blah, blah. The same story over and over again. But they're not changing, and they will never change because the business model will always repeat itself. Price moves to value, price moves away from value. Price moves to another point in the chart where it can gain value. No good for them there. They move it to the next point of value. Go back to another area of value where they could transact before and then move away from that area of value to the next area of value. This is all value, 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 value. That's all it is. Yield is what it's all about. Can I buy more Ethereum right now? Damn right you can buy more Ethereum right now. You just managed to get a discount on it. Happy days. Well, if that discount's going to then turn into the logic of going higher again, we should then see Ethereum marking its way back up again towards the 4,000. We could assume that after this upgrade, Ethereum guys have now loaded up on more Ethereum below the key 4,000 mark to effectively see Ethereum break through the 4,000 mark and trend higher. That's all there is to it. I know it sounds simple, but I do this most of the time on the live streams and talk you through this logic. And if you're saying he's just repeating himself, congratulations, bro. If you've registered that I'm repeating myself, now you've understood that the market repeats itself. You've now got to work out the when. And the best way for you to navigate that is by understanding the relationship of the bids and the asks. What's going on here? You see that? You know what these two candlestick wicks are about. You know that the bids were in here, okay? Now the offers are coming into play because the guys are there like, okay, we're going to start seeing some selling. All right, so these guys over here are like, okay, we can start selling into these guys now. Price should be going up from this point. Probabilities is understanding the ebb and flow. But more importantly, it's about how you are behaving or reacting to this. You have a dialogue with the market and you're using the right risk management, you're not going to get caught up. Oh, I'm in a drawdown. For the scalpers and the day traders, this is what you're doing. Every candle tells you the story, and it always starts off with one candle. Ethereum will shoot up from here, hypothetically. All right? It all started off on this green vector candle. Because when you look at it later on, you'll say to yourself, it all started off in that green vector. And you watch this live stream back, you'll now have the makeup of how this range occurred. Oh, psychological low right there. High, sorry. Midpoint of the vector candle, sorry. Didn't recover the green vector fully. Interest. Yippee-ki-yay to the 50 EMA. Be sure to like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be checking in with you all later on tonight. Peace.